Hey, I'm Curvine, and this is my world. As a young kid, I grew up in church and gave my life to God. But as I grew older, I became complacent. I saw all the other kids my age having fun, staying out late, hitting on girls, and doing whatever they wanted to do. I wanted to be like them, and it mattered more to me than my desire to please God. This started to affect my behavior. When I was 12, I began to smoke marijuana, which led to alcohol, which eventually led to me using ecstasy. I began developing some pretty heavy addictions, and to support my habit, I began stealing and robbing from people. I even started to sell drugs. It went so far that I started getting in trouble with the law. I was arrested for numerous larcenies and drug possessions. I was in and out of jail for weeks at a time and was even placed on probation. But that didn't stop me. After a month in jail, I was placed on intensive house arrest for 7 months as I awaited my sentencing. I was isolated and fell into serious depression at that time. It was then that I developed a horrible cocaine addiction. My family never stopped praying for me, and my childhood friend, Candace, would often stop by to pray with me and tell me that God had more for my life than what I had become. But for me, I felt it was all too late. In January 2004, I stood before the judge to receive my verdict. Little did I know that my mom had been praying and negotiating behind the scenes to get me into a rehabilitation and discipleship program known as Teen Challenge as an alternative to prison. The judge showed me favor and gave me the option to either go to prison for 10 years or complete the Teen Challenge program. I chose the program as a way of escape from prison, but my heart was still very hard towards God. I figured I could squeeze through the program and be back out in the streets in a year doing what I wanted to do. But once I got to Teen Challenge, my life started to change. I really began to take in the Word of God and learn about His love for people like me. It blew me away as I started to think that after all I had done, not only did God want to forgive me, clean my heart, and make me new, He wanted to use me as well. At that point, I realized that I could not make it in this life without Him. It was there in January of 2004 that I experienced the real love of Christ for the first time and accepted Him into my life. Since then, I've never been the same. After I graduated from the program, I stayed and worked there for an additional year. That childhood friend, Candace, that prayed so many nights for me, became my wife. And for the past 4 years, we've been in full-time ministry, traveling all over the country, sharing the gospel of Christ to a lost and dying generation. Looking back, it's amazing to see the change God did in my life. I was hopeless and saw no future for myself, but He took me, healed my heart, and brought so much love into my world. He redirected my life, and now I live to please Him and share His love with this young generation, encouraging them to walk in the purpose and destiny they were created for.